Product development for a training company. And my company has been asking itself the same question for several years now, which is, how do you create effective soft skills training using e-learning? So today, what I'd like to talk about is first, define the terms of that question. Second, go into more detail about what that question is really asking. And third, pose my own response to that question. Sound good? Yes. Great. So, how do you create effective soft skills training in e-learning? First, let's define soft skills. Soft skills are interpersonal skills. These are skills that require emotional intelligence. At my company, Achieve Global, we teach customer service, sales, and leadership skills. These are very clearly soft skills, as opposed to hard skills, which would be something like Java programming or open heart surgery. Okay. So soft skills training. What's training? When I talk about training, I like to think what it's not. And training and education, although there's a lot of overlap, these are not the same thing. If you want to think about what's the difference between education and training, I ask myself this question. What's the difference between sex education and sex training? For a second. The difference is practice. In education is all presentation. You present information, and at the end of education, people are supposed to understand something. In training, though, at the end of the process, it's presentation and practice, and at the end of the process, you should be able to do something. So that's the difference between education and training. That's what training is. So soft skills training using e-learning. What's e-learning? E-learning is learning with just a person and a computer. At Achieve Global, we have three kinds of training. We have classroom training, virtual classroom training, and e-learning. And the classroom is just what you'd expect. It's a bunch of people get together with a trainer in a room together and they learn something. Virtual classroom training is similar, although the people don't get together in the same room, they're on a conference call and sharing a web application. E-learning is different from the two of these in that there is no trainer. It's just the learner and their computer, and the learner is learning by interacting with the computer. Okay, so that's the first thing. I've defined my terms. What's the question again? How do you create effective soft skills training using e-learning? Well, it's a big question. Let's go back for a second and ask ourselves, why are we asking this question, though? And the reason we're asking this question is because our customers are asking us for this product. Okay, a lot of our customers, Achieve Global over the years, has been very successful selling classroom training. And we're not going to stop doing that. But for some customers, classroom training isn't practical. Okay? For some, an example of this is when all of the learners that you've got are located all over the country. You don't want to have to fly everybody together to get into a classroom with the trainer. And so, in those instances, virtual learning is the solution that they often will reach towards. But sometimes virtual learning isn't practical either. So think about the situation where you've got a small call center and everybody really needs some customer service training, but if you pulled them all off the phones at the same time, well, you wouldn't be having very good customer service while that was going on, would you? And so for those customers, they're really asking us for this e-learning. But there's a problem. And the problem is this. Remember when I was talking about practice? Well, with classroom and virtual training, you have an opportunity to practice, for learners to practice together. Mostly this is what we call role plays, right? And there's something about a role play where imagine this. I'm the salesperson, you're my customer, I'm going to practice giving you my opening statement. At the end of the process, well, throughout the process of me practicing that, I'm going to get your feedback. I'm both verbal and nonverbal. Okay? And so there's something really special about the feedback that you get from one-on-one practice. And that is something that we are thus far unable to reproduce in the e-learning environment. So this is quite a predicament we found ourselves in. We've got our customers that are asking for something, they really want it, they really need it, but we can't provide it to them in a way that it's going to be as effective as we want. Now that's not to say we haven't tried, and we have. But our customers have not been happy with the results over the years. Deep down, they know that it doesn't work. Okay? So now, I've defined terms, I've defined the problem. Here's my proposed solution. How do you create effective soft skills training using e-learning? My response is, you can't. Practice is too important. Practice is what makes the difference between training and education, and training is what they're there for. Well, that's not a very helpful answer in a lot of regards, is it? You just can't. But what it does is it opens the door to us thinking about what's the real problem and what are some potential solutions to it. So what's the real problem? Well, why do our customers want e-learning? Well, they want e-learning because it's not practical for them to get all their learners together at the same time. Okay? Is that a solution? Is that a problem that we could have a technologically enabled solution for? Well, you start thinking about it. Actually, that's a lot easier than trying to program artificial intelligence to practice sales training, isn't it? And I think that it is. I think if we start going down that road, we're going to find some pretty practical, implementable technological solutions that will allow us to answer this problem, answer this question, solve the problem, and help our customers. And I think our customers are going to be happy with this solution, this answer, because in the long run, the reason they weren't buying our training in the first place was because they knew we couldn't do it. And so we'll be giving them the answer that they want, and I think that it'll be acceptable to them. Thank you very much.
That's nice.